Are Israel and Lebanon close to resolving their long-running maritime border dispute? The U.S. has offered a proposal to clarify their boundaries in an area with potentially huge gas deposits. So what is at stake, and will a deal help improve relations between the two countries? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Folly by Thibault. A long-running dispute between Israel and Lebanon may soon be resolved. Both countries lay claim to the same stretch of ocean in the eastern Mediterranean that could contain lucrative gas deposits. A U.S. mediator has sent a written proposal to both Lebanon and Israel to demarcate the maritime border. The two countries disagree on the boundary separating their exclusive economic zones. The contested waters contains Karish gas field and the Kana prospect. Israel claims the boundary runs north at line 1, giving it the right to operate in Karish, but Lebanon puts the border further south at line 23. In 2012, a U.S. mediator proposed a midway solution called the Hof line, but it wasn't accepted. A decade later, Lebanon demanded the boundary be pushed south to line 29. The latest U.S. proposal is set to offer a compromise. The two countries would share the Kana field, while the Karish would stay in Israel's zone. Zena Hodder explains from Beirut.
A long-standing maritime border dispute between Lebanon and Israel may be close to being resolved. A written proposal is now on the table. It's based on years of intermittent and indirect negotiations mediated by the United States. A deal would be a rare diplomatic breakthrough between enemies that would unlock valuable underwater resources. But it would also position the eastern Mediterranean as an energy hub, supplying Europe as it seeks replacements for Russian gas.
There is a need that has been created due to the Russian-Ukrainian war. Europe is looking at the East Mediterranean as one possible source.
Israel is already an exporter of energy and wants to significantly add to its output by starting to produce gas at its Karish field. But there are security concerns. The Iranian-backed armed group Hezbollah has said it has the capability to obstruct the sale of gas to Europe if Lebanon's rights in the maritime region aren't recognized. Israel dismissed the threats and warned of a war if there is any attack. But despite the tough talk, all parties have shown readiness to reach a deal. Lebanese officials and Hezbollah have called it a historic opportunity for the country grappling with a major financial crisis. Lebanon hasn't been able to begin drilling because international companies won't explore the area until the border dispute is resolved. The proposed compromise is believed to involve including Karish field in Israel's economic zone, while most of the nearby Kana will go to Lebanon, even though there are no proven reserves in that field. The agreement won't become formal until the parties finalize it during indirect meetings at a UN base near their border. A breakthrough doesn't signal peace or a normalization of relations, but it could reduce tensions and allow gas to flow from under the sea. Zena Hodder for Inside Story.
Well, the leader of Lebanon's Hezbollah group has called the proposal a significant step. Hassan Nasrallah says he hopes a resolution will open up major economic opportunities.
We are all aware of the deteriorating situation globally. Fuels, food, cash flows, etc. The situation is affecting even European countries. Lebanon is waiting for foreign loans and assistance while we have our own riches within our own waters. If this issue comes to a favorable outcome, it will be the product of our unity and solidarity. It is not the time to seek political gains. We should bank on our own points of strength.
And Israel's Prime Minister supports the deal and has even backed the idea of Lebanon producing natural gas in disputed waters.
This is a deal that strengthens Israel's security and Israel's economy. We have no opposition to an additional Lebanese gas field being developed, from which we would of course receive the royalties due us. Such a field would weaken Lebanese dependency on Iran, restrain Hezbollah, and bring regional stability.
Well, let's bring in our guest now for today's Inside Story. In Beirut, Laury, Haytayan, an oil and gas analyst and a political activist. And in West Jerusalem, Russell Shalev, a lawyer and researcher at the Kohelet Policy Forum, an Israeli think tank. Thank you both for joining us on Inside Story. Laury, in Beirut, let me start with you. There seems to be a renewed sense of urgency to get an agreement on this long-running maritime dispute between Lebanon and Israel. With the Lebanese authorities receiving the U.S. mediator's proposal, do you get a sense that we are nearing a deal?
Definitely, this is the sense we're getting in Beirut, that this is almost a done deal. And the Beirut authorities here are very positive about the deal, and they're talking about progress and positive signs. And even Hezbollah, which was thought to be a spoiler, yesterday Hassan Nasrallah had a very positive statement about the deal. So I guess the atmosphere and the environment here in Beirut is that a deal is going to happen soon. And I think with everything that we're hearing today in Israel, I think that will push more for the U.S. mediator to push for a deal to happen before the election's outcome and before maybe Netanyahu taking over. And from what we're hearing, he's against the deal. So I think time-wise, there is an overlap between Lebanon wanting a deal the soonest before the end of the president's mandate by 31 October. And it seems that there is a rush even in Israel because Yair Lapid wants the deal, and Netanyahu today and the extremist camp are against the deal. So this overlap might make it even sooner than expected a deal might be signed.
Let's get the view from West Jerusalem. Russell, how is this proposed deal being viewed in Israel? And is there a sense of urgency there, as Laury says?
Well, first, I want to emphasize the absolute tragedy of this deal, right? Lebanon is a failed state. It's ruled by an Iranian puppet regime. This deal will not benefit the Lebanese people. Rather, it will allow Hezbollah and the Iranian government to continue to loot and to plunder Lebanon's natural resources. I further want to emphasize, right? Israel is a democracy. We are in election season. The current government has no public mandate to make this deal. It cannot be done. Under a caretaker transitional government, it has no mandate for this deal.
Okay, we'll allow Laury to respond. We don't know, Laury, the exact terms, of course, and the devil is in the details. But from the reports and statements that you've seen, how would Lebanon benefit from this deal?
So first of all, I think Lebanon is desperate for a deal on the maritime border because they do believe that this deal will help ease the pressure that Lebanon is going through, especially the political class, to do reforms from the international community, the donors community, from the IMF, from the World Bank. Everybody wants Lebanon to do reforms, and that the government of Lebanon is reluctant to do. So they believe that this deal will ease that pressure, and then if Total is committed to start working to discover oil, and then oil is discovered, that would help as well for Lebanon to have a better deal with the IMF if a deal is in place. And therefore, they're playing that card, the oil and gas card, to get out of the economic crisis we're living in, and especially to ease the pressure on the reforms that the government is asked to undergo.
What about Hezbollah? Would it agree to anything that the Lebanese government agrees on under this proposed deal, which, according to reports, again, nothing is confirmed yet? Karish field would remain in Israeli waters, and a greater share of the Kana field for Lebanon, even though we don't know whether there is actual gas in Kana. Would Hezbollah agree to this proposal?
Of course, Hezbollah had been consulted on all the steps that led to today's proposal. That's why what we're hearing from Hezbollah's leader saying this is a positive step towards a solution, that means that they agree on the clauses and the provisions of the deal. So what we are seeing today, it's like Hezbollah is not very much interested about where the borders are. They're talking more about like the need to exploit the oil and gas reserves that we have, because they do believe that that will change the face of Lebanon and that will help Lebanon recover. Definitely, we know that this comes with caveats. When a country like Lebanon has poor governance, when we have institutional failure, when we do have corruption, at a high level corruption, we know that by looking at other places, when you have poor governance and all these problems with corruption and institutional failure, oil and gas doesn't come and help the country to recover. But once again, this is the card that Hezbollah is playing to push for this maritime border to happen, because they see it as an economic that this maritime border has economic benefits more than political or anything else.
All right, Laury, as you heard Russell Shalev say, not everyone in Israel agrees with this proposed deal. Israel's former Prime Minister and its opposition leader now, Benjamin Netanyahu, accused the current Prime Minister Yair Lapid of giving up Israeli territory and hiding the details of the proposed deal from the public. Take a listen.
Lapid does not have a mandate to give an enemy country sovereign territories and sovereign property, which belong to all of us. If this illegal hijacking passes, we will not be bound. On November 1st, we will return to Israel a strong and experienced leadership that maintains security for all of us.
Russell Shalev, what is at stake for Israel here?
Well, my colleague's words really go to underscore why the Israeli public is opposed to this deal. First of all, right, why is the Israeli government keeping the details of this deal from the Israeli public? But there's no reason for Israel to give what can be turned or can be presented as a victory to Hezbollah. The Israeli public is firmly against territorial concessions, right? We have done that in the past. We've done it in Lebanon. We've done that in Gaza. We've done it in many places. We've only gotten terror. We're not interested in giving prizes to Iranian puppets.
But this would allow Israel, wouldn't it, to extract gas from Karish without any security threats? Because, of course, Lebanon, Hezbollah had threatened, some sort of attack if Israel were to go ahead with extracting gas from Karish without this agreement. But now that there seems to be an agreement in the works, wouldn't this allow Israel to achieve some of the energy needs that it said it would through Karish?
Karish was always under Israeli control and Israeli sovereignty, right? Israel should not be listening to threats from Hezbollah. The truth is, Hezbollah is a paper tiger. Israel should not condition its economic growth and access to its natural gas on Hezbollah's threats.
Okay, Laury. Russell is clearly opposed to this proposed deal. We heard his position there, but I want our viewers to understand what is at stake for Israel here. You've told us about what's at stake for Lebanon, but why would the current Israeli government agree to this deal, as the signs seems to be indicating?
Look, from what we're hearing from the Israeli side, first of all, they are saying that at the end of the day, if this Kana field is discovered, the prospect, we will get compensation from that field. So therefore, we're not giving away anything. And then I think the major issue for the Israelis and why they're doing this deal is to secure stability in the region. And they feel that if Lebanon is to undergo or embark on finding oil and gas and having a platform very close to the Israeli EEZ, so therefore there will be this deterrence where Lebanon will be less interested in going to war with Israel, because they do have this economic interest of keeping the platforms working and having oil and gas. And I think one other issue that Israel is saying, and that I'm hearing from the news in Israel, is like they think that if a deal is made in between Lebanon and Israel, if Lebanon finds oil and gas, that will stabilize even the country, that will make Lebanon less interested in going to war, and that will make Lebanon less dependent, or at least Hezbollah detached from Iran.
Would it reduce, you think, Hezbollah's influence in Lebanese politics?
No, that will not influence
Iran. I mean, Iran's influence, I meant to say. Iran, would it reduce Iran's influence in Lebanon?
So definitely it will not reduce Hezbollah's dependence on Iran, because Iran and Hezbollah, this is a relation that will last forever. And no one has to think that anything that happens in Lebanon, any economic recovery, that will mean that Iran will let go of Hezbollah or Hezbollah will let go of Iran. That is a very organic relationship, and it will not end. So it's the same like when they think that if Iran goes into a JCPOA deal, again, that will put them away from having a weapon or a nuclear weapon, which will not happen. Iran will want to have a nuclear weapon, whatever happens. So at the end of the day, Israel is looking at this deal from a security lens more than from an economic lens, which is on the other side, from the Lebanese side, this is pure economic deal that they're making, because Lebanon wants to benefit from its oil and gas sector and move on with the recovery. Again, taking that with a bit of salt, because of the situation we are in. We have to do reforms before being able to benefit from our oil and gas sector. But at least this is what is pushing the Lebanese government, and the Israeli government is pushed by the security obsession that they have, and they think this deal will bring them stability and it will stabilize the borders.
Okay, Russell, your response. Laury says Israel, through this deal, is looking for a better security. What is your view on this?
So first, I would like to make 2 points. Right, currently, Iran is facing major unrest. The continuing rule of the Ayatollah's theocratic regime is being threatened. So again, Israel and the United States and the international community should be standing with the Iranian people and not doing something that will
has nothing to do right now with Iran, does it? It's the Lebanese government which has been
Lebanon
negotiating
and Iran
indirectly with Israel with a U.S. mediator.
Yes, Lebanon is a puppet regime of Iran. But second of all, right, I want to speak about domestic Israeli legal issues. Right, again, we have an election here in one month. Right, the current government is a transitional government. It has no mandate to make this deal, and legally it's bound to act to act with restraint. Furthermore, according to Israeli constitutional law, the transfer of any sovereign Israeli territory requires a national referendum. So yes, if there will be another government in November, that government will not be bound by the conditions and the terms of this deal.
So you're saying that this might drag on because indeed Netanyahu has promised to take this through the legal route if the deal goes through and is agreed by the current government. What impact is it going to have on the elections, you think?
I mean, I think that this could potentially sharpen the divide between left and right. Unfortunately, right, Israel has been having election instability. Much of the campaign isn't based on different personalities, but this will clarify the majority of the Israeli population is against territorial concessions, and you see a center-left government being in power only two or 3 months. And already agreeing to give up Israeli territory, and again, if they want to do this, then make public the details of this deal.
I'm sure the details will be made public in just a few days. Laury, let me come back to you and talk more about the implications for Lebanon. You mentioned that having access to natural gas fields would no doubt be a welcome source of revenue for Lebanon. But how do we ensure, as you've said, that the money would benefit the Lebanese people and that it won't disappear in the coffers of a corrupt government where there's no regulation of the funds? How do we ensure that there is transparency?
So definitely today we cannot ensure that, but let me tell you that this issue of developing oil and gas resources into becoming and production and into becoming revenues, if you want, to monetize it, it takes a lot of time. So if we are going to start, like if Lebanon is going to start exploiting, first we need to have discoveries. Contrary to Israel or to Cyprus or to Egypt, we don't have discoveries yet. So first we have to go into discoveries. That takes time. time. Then we need to decide like how to develop and produce the gas and what the market will be. Is it local market or regional market or international market? All of that requires a lot of time, requires a lot of investment, and it requires a vision for the country, which we lack on all levels. Vision we lack, strategy we lack, investment we lack, because we lack any kind of recovery plan. So definitely there is a lot of work. That's why I'm saying that we shouldn't go easy on the political class. We shouldn't go easy on the government of Lebanon and let it go and take it easy on them when it comes to reform. Reforms are necessary so that we are able to benefit from the oil and gas sector and for the Lebanese people to benefit from the oil and gas sector. So that's why maybe today this deal would be one step forward, but there's a lot that the Lebanese population needs to do to ensure that the government is going through reforms, and we will need the help of the international community to force Lebanon and the government to go into the reforms so that later on when oil and gas comes, it could support the economy and it could benefit the people. Unless we don't, if we don't do all of this, it will be another waste for generations to come.
And so, Laury, looking at the big picture now and looking at the political issues a bit closer, where would an agreement leave the broader Israeli-Lebanese dynamic? Do you think it would help reduce tensions?
Look, definitely it will diffuse tension, but it will not lead to anything more than that. I know we've been hearing about normalization, we've been hearing about possible peace, all of that. All of that is not on the agenda of the Lebanese people, on the Lebanese government. This is a deal that is necessary to unlock the potential for oil and gas, and this is how the government of Lebanon is viewing it, and it will stop there. If we think that this deal might end the war between Lebanon and Israel, or the situation between Lebanon and Israel, and it will lead to peace, this is wrong. It is not going to lead to that place. So this is just purely an opportunity for the Lebanese government to sign this deal and to move on with the unlocking the potentials for oil and gas, and that's it. It stops there.
Okay. Russell, let me ask you the same question in West Jerusalem. What are the implications for the broader relationship between Israel and Lebanon? Could this help reduce tensions if it is agreed?
So, you know, I would hope that the Lebanese people are able to get their house in order and get rid of the Hezbollah terrorist organization. There's no reason that Hezbollah, right, couldn't join similar to the Emirates, to Bahrain, to Morocco, the Abraham Accords, and reap the benefits of trade and normalization with Israel. Unfortunately, this deal is not even a direct agreement between Israel and Lebanon. It's an agreement of Israel with the United States and Lebanon, essentially with the United States. Unfortunately, I don't see this deal leading to any sort of normalization. In fact, it only strengthens Hezbollah's rejectionist and extremist politics.
Laury, I want to let you respond to that. Russell seems to give a lot of importance to Hezbollah in terms of, you know, their place in the negotiations in this deal. Is that the case? I mean, is Hezbollah really running things here?
Look, I think they are in the period of elections, as it was mentioned, and during elections we become very populist. At the end of the day, Netanyahu has decided to go to negotiations with Lebanon, and I think by October 2020, when the negotiations were launched and Netanyahu was in power, still Hezbollah was in Lebanon, and today, after 2 years, Hezbollah is still in Lebanon. So I think that populist approach of what's happening of the extremist group now is just like we can put it in the environment of elections, and that's it. I think after the elections, if Netanyahu comes to power and a deal is made, he will follow the clauses of the deal and he will not cancel it.
All right.
He had started the negotiations.
He did start the negotiations, indeed. We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much, both, for a very interesting discussion. Laury, Haytayan, and Russell Shalev, thank you for joining us. And thank you for watching. You can always watch this program again anytime by visiting our website at aljazeera.com. For further discussion, go to our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/AJ Inside Story. You can, of course, also join the conversation on Twitter. We are at AJ Inside Story. From me, Folly, Thibault, and the whole team, thanks for watching. Bye for now.